In the heart of New York City, the skies darkened with an ominous presence as Spider-Man swung gracefully through the towering buildings, his red and blue suit a streak of color against the gray clouds. Peter Parker, under the mask, was aware of an unsettling disturbance, a surge of energy detectable only with his heightened spider sense. Miles away, in a concealed laboratory humming with the energy of experimentation, Godspeed was preparing himself. Once an ordinary scientist named August Hart, he had turned into Godspeed after a lab accident that granted him super speed. A formidable opponent with a personal vendetta against Spider-Man, Godspeed harbored the goal of testing his limits. That evening, the city streets were eerily silent. Spider-Man perched on top of a street lamp, surveying the surroundings. His senses tingled once more, sharper this time. The environment seemed to bend and warp as Godspeed approached. He was barely visible, a blur to the naked eye, the air crackling with his velocity. "Looking for me, Spidey?" Godspeed taunted, his voice carried by the wind. Spider-Man's response was immediate. "Why don't we slow things down a bit? You're making a mess with all that speed." He leapt forward, launching a web to intercept Godspeed. The battle commenced with ferocious intensity. Godspeed darted in all directions, each movement a calculated attempt to weave around Spider-Man's strategic web traps. Despite Godspeed's superior speed, Spider-Man's agility and intelligence matched wits and reflexes. He predicted Godspeed's paths, laying out webs like a strategic chess player, closing exits until only one unpredictable escape route remained. However, Godspeed wasn't just about speed. He was clever and cunning. He realized Spider-Man could predict his maneuvers and decided to change his pattern erratically. A sudden clash ensued as Godspeed charged with unexpected fury, catching Spider-Man by surprise. Peter lunged, twisting in midair, barely evading a blow that could have been catastrophic. He landed gracefully, his hands gripping a thin strand of webbing. Godspeed paused, acknowledging Spider-Man's skill. "You're tougher than you look, but can you keep up forever?" Spider-Man breathed steadily, his mind racing. "Long enough to figure you out." Their battle pushed them through alleys, up skyscrapers, and across city parks. The environment served as both battlefield and a test of their powers. Every encounter between them was a blur of speed and agility, a dance that neither could sustain forever. Finally, Spider-Man seized the opportunity he had been waiting for. As Godspeed attempted yet another barrage, Peter anticipated the move and launched a web net that weaved around Godspeed, entangling him. "Gotcha!" Spider-Man exclaimed triumphantly as Godspeed struggled futilely against the web's adhesive grip. Spider-Man approached cautiously. "You know, August, it doesn't have to be like this." Godspeed sighed heavily, the weight of his obsession beginning to lift. "Maybe you're right, Parker," he admitted, finally realizing that perhaps his pursuit had taken the wrong path. With their battle coming to an end, New York City returned to its usual hustle and bustle, unaware of the extraordinary clash of speed and agility that had just unfolded above their heads. Spider-Man and Godspeed would meet again, but for now, peace was restored.